Hey friends, I just released a video called The Pleasure of the Lord Shall Prosper. And in regards to Isaiah chapter 53 verse 10, the pleasure of the Lord shall prosper in his hand. But this word really goes along with that. I wanted to make that really short. But the depth of this, the depth of his love, it's hard to make things short. So for those that will delve farther, this is to take people a little bit farther. And so in Isaiah 53 verse 10, it says of the Lord that he shall see his seed. He shall prolong his days. The pleasure of the Lord shall prosper in his hand. And in that video, I went into the depth of the pleasure of the Lord that prospers in his hand. The pleasure of the Lord that prospers in his hand are those who put their trust, their faith. They believe in the love of the Father. They believe in the love of Jesus Christ. They can receive that. That's what pleases him. Without faith, it is impossible to please him. For those that come to him must believe that he is. They must believe that he is love. God is love. Not that he exists, but that he is love. Because when you're love, you just want to release your love. And we can't receive it except in the place of faith. This is why in Zechariah chapter 4, where it says, O great mountain, before Zerubbabel you shall become a plain, and bring forth the headstone thereof, with shoutings of grace, grace unto it. O great mountain. What is this, O great mountain, before Zerubbabel? Zerubbabel means the seed of Babylon, or born in Babylon. O great mountain. What is this great mountain in the earth, in the world, in Babylon, this religious system of this world? It's the great mountain of unbelief that questions the love of God, or that just doesn't know the love of God at all, right? O great mountain, before the seed of one born in Babylon. O great mountain, before Zerubbabel you shall become a plain, and shall bring forth the headstone thereof, the rock of Christ. What is this rock of Christ that crushes this other mountain, that brings it to a plain? What is this great mountain that in the book of Daniel says, the stone that is hewn not with hands, that crushes the feet of the beast system? It's faith in the love of God. This is the rock. He set my feet upon a rock and established my goings. It's faith in the love of God. It's knowing this love, trusting this love. This is where we are to stand. Stand therefore. As David said in Psalm 40, he set my feet upon a rock and established my goings. He has put a new song in my mouth, even praises unto our God, knowing this love. Many shall see and fear and trust in the Lord. And David goes on in that psalm, he says, sacrifice and offering you did not desire, my ear have you opened. Come unto me, all who are weary and heavy laden, I will give you rest. Come unto me. Put your trust in me. Sacrifice and offering you did not desire. My ear you've opened to the Spirit. Burnt offering and sin offering you have not required. Then said I, lo, I come. In the volume of the book it is written of me, I delight to do your will, oh my God. Because your love, the love of God, has flooded the heart. Where was I? Back to Isaiah 53. Oh, I was in Zechariah. That's right. Zechariah chapter 4. O great mountain before Zerubbabel, this great mountain of unbelief. And this is what Jesus' disciples, of course, said, help our unbelief. O great mountain before Zerubbabel, thou shalt become a plain, and thou shalt bring forth the headstone thereof, this rock of Christ, faith in Christ, standing on the faith in his love, belief in his love. Thou shalt bring forth the headstone thereof, with shoutings of grace, grace unto it. What is grace? Grace is the power of his love. By grace are you saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. For we are his workmanship. O great mountain before Zerubbabel, the seed of those who are born into this world. So back to Isaiah chapter 53, verse 10. He shall see his seed. Isaiah 53 is the cross. This is Isaiah's revelation of the cross, where he saw the cross of Christ. It says that Jesus will see his seed. Because he was cut off out of the land of living, for the transgression of his people was he stricken. And it says that he was cut off in the land of living, for the transgression of my people was he stricken. And that he had no children while he was on the earth. But this is the seed. This is the children that is speaking of that he is going to have. Even though he was cut off in the land of living and he didn't have any natural children, he shall see his seed. What is this seed that he shall see? It's the seed of faith that believes in the love, that trusts in the love. He shall see his seed. It's the seed that is planted into the likeness of his death, that is planted into that love, that first love. And that seed puts its trust in that first love. In Romans chapter 6, it says that we were planted together into the likeness of his death. How were we planted? By faith, the seed of faith, that we trusted in that love. We believed in the mercy. We believed in the cross of Christ, the shedding of his blood for us, that act of first love. That's the seed that he shall see, that is planted into him, so that we would be rooted in his love. I can go a lot deeper into this, but I'm going to try and keep it really simple here. He shall see his seed. He shall prolong his days. He's going to prolong his days through a man-child, through a people that come to the revelation and faith of his love like never before, that fully manifest Christ's life in the earth, and they prolong the days of Christ. Because Christ, after 3.5 years of ministry, was cut off out of the land of the living. And he's going to prolong those days through a people, through a seed, and that are going to manifest themselves as the man-child. Revelation chapter 12. So that all of the earth will see Christ manifested. Just as Christ walked the earth, the man-child is going to manifest Christ in the same measure. He shall see his seed, he shall prolong his days. The pleasure of the Lord shall prosper in his hand. Those that put their trust in him by faith, faith in his love, that believe in this love. We came to this earth to become love. That is the purpose why we came, is to become love. And it's that seed of faith that planted us into the likeness of his death, that we would become rooted in his love. And then we are to put faith in his word of love, that we would be grounded in love, that you being rooted and grounded in love may be able to comprehend with all the saints what is the breadth and the length, the depth and height, to know the love of Christ which passes knowledge, that ye might be filled with all the fullness of God. Trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he may be glorified. That he would be glorified in the earth for those who put their faith to become planted in the likeness of his death, and then to be grounded in his truth. That the glory of Isaiah 60 would be manifested, and that which Isaiah 59 says, that the enemy shall come in like a flood, but the Spirit of the Lord shall raise up a standard against it. That standard is the Isaiah 60 company. First, the enemy's going to come in like a flood, but then the Lord's going to raise up a standard. And what is that standard? Those that walk just as Christ walked, that are rooted and grounded in love. He shall see his seed. He shall prolong his days. The pleasure of the Lord shall prosper in his hand. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon thee. For behold, darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness of the people. That's as the enemy comes in like a flood of deception, a flood of destruction. But the Lord shall raise up a standard against it. That standard is also spoken of in Isaiah chapter 62, where it's speaking of these people that become rooted and grounded in his love. And it says in Isaiah 62, go through the gates of righteousness. We are righteous by faith in his love. Go through the gates, prepare ye the way of the people. Cast up the highway of holiness. Gather out the stones of stumbling. Lift up a standard for the people. For the Lord hath proclaimed unto the ends of the earth, say ye to the daughter of Zion, behold, thy salvation cometh. Their salvation is in the revelation of this love. By his knowledge, the knowledge of his salvation, shall my righteous servant justify many. Holy Spirit, I thank you for quickening your word to the hearts of your people. That seed of faith that was planted into the likeness of Christ's death, as it says in Psalm 129, verse 3, Messianic Psalm of David, where it said, the plowers plowed upon my back, and the scourging of Christ. The plowers plowed upon my back, they made long their furrows, so that we could be planted together into the likeness of his death. That in his love he took the scourging upon his back, so that we could be planted as we take that seed of faith and it's planted into him. That we would be rooted in his love, and then that we would become grounded in his love. Shalom, shalom.